National 5, in this video we are going to talk about external CSS. So let's take a look at what we'll be looking at in this lesson. So we are going to expand our knowledge of CSS. Up until this point, all the CSS that we've done is what we call internal CSS. So in this lesson we're going to focus on the advantage and disadvantages of CSS internally, and then we're going to have a look at how we implement something called external CSS. So, internal CSS, the CSS is contained within each web page. The style is then only applied to that single web page. The downfall of that, as you'll see shortly, is that it has to be inserted into every page, and therefore if I want to change an aspect of the CSS, I then have to go in and change it on every single CSS page. What we're going to look at today is something called External Style Sheets or External CSS, and this is where the CSS is contained in a separate document which is then linked to the HTML document, and there's the code on the screen for you. This means that we can have one document with all the CSS that we need for our entire site, and then we can apply it to the pages within our website that we want to use. That means if we want to change our CSS, we've just got to make one change as opposed to changing it on every single page. So let's have a look at an example. Here we have a website for Magic Radio. This site includes 3 pages: index, listen, and also a page called latest. Now at the moment the background colours are various different colours of blue, but if I wanted to change the index page to be, for example, green for the whole site, if I can spell green, I can change it there. But if I want to do latest, I've got to go in and change it there. And in listen, I would then have to go and change it there as well. So that's okay for us when we have got only a few pages. But in real life, sites are going to have hundreds of pages. So we can create something called an external style sheet and then link it to the document. So I've got a new document here. I'm just going to save it. And we're just going to call it style.css. Okay, so the extension .css tells the computer, tells the browser that this document is going to contain CSS. It's really important this document here is saved into the same folder as our website. So this is the website folder. You can see here I've got index, latest, and listen. So we're going to cover file called style.css, and we're going to hit save. Within this document, I can then take the CSS from the head of one of the documents and I can paste it in to style. Okay, so you can see there that my index page has now been stripped of all CSS because I have removed the internal CSS. So to access the CSS in this external file, we need to include a link to it. So the code we need is link. The relevance of that link is that it's a style sheet. Okay. And that file is located at style.css. So when we close that and save it, you can see that my CSS has been applied. And if I go into the external CSS and make a change here, okay, that change is reflected on this page. I can now copy the code from my index and paste it into my other pages, making sure to delete the style tag. And you'll see that that's applied. And we can do the same again, and we can see that is also going to be applied if I put that in the right place. So making sure we delete everything in between the style tags and sticking it in. We can see here, looking at this page here, I've obviously got an H1 rule and an H3 rule that hasn't been on my main style sheet. So I need to go and add that in. So we're just going to add an H1 in, and we want the colour of H1 to be yellow. And we want the font family to be Verdana. And we can see how that there is updated on this page. But if we also go back and look at our listen page, it has, oh, sorry, no, if we go and look at our latest page, it will also have been updated. So really important with external CSS that every page in your website that is going to have this CSS applied to it has it within the head of the document. And it's just those simple codes you need: link, relevance, style sheet, href equals style.css. And then in the style.css document, you just write out your CSS as we have done within the style document, and making sure that this style.css is saved into the same folder as our main website is. So there we have it. That is how you add external CSS into a website. Below this video, there is a practical activity that you could try out.